At 26, I find myself grappling with the fallout of being cast out as a teenager, a fate sealed by unfounded rumors spread by my twin brother. My parents, who once abandoned me, now come crawling back, demanding a share of the accomplishments I've fought hard to achieve. Growing up alongside my twin, it was painfully clear that our parents had a bias. My brother was their golden child, destined for greatness, while I, more interested in sports and socializing than academics, was labeled the black sheep. This constant comparison chipped away at my self-esteem from an early age. My childhood was marred by the sight of my brother reveling in extravagant birthday parties and sleepovers while I was often left out. The only source of comfort was my grandmother, who showered me with affection and small gifts during her visits. As we matured, the favoritism escalated into outright emotional abuse. My parents mocked my academic struggles and belittled my interests, leaving me with a persistent sense of inadequacy. Despite excelling in sports, they barred me from extracurricular activities, insisting I focus solely on academics like my brother. High school was a nightmare. When I was caught using Snapchat, a harmless pastime for most teens, my parents erupted in fury, treating it as a grave offense. They destroyed my belongings, removed my bedroom door, and declared I would have no privacy in their home. During this tumultuous period, my brother turned the atmosphere toxic. He lied about me to deflect blame from himself, even injuring himself to give credibility to his tales of my supposed violence at home. This manipulation shattered my reputation, alienating me from friends who began to view me with suspicion. Despite these hardships, I maintained a vibrant social life. Unlike my brother, who struggled to connect with others, his jealousy reached its peak when none of his friends showed up for his 16th birthday, while my friends made mine unforgettable. This disparity fueled his vendetta, intensifying his campaign of defamation against me. Suddenly, I was the girl everyone avoided, the violent, spoiled bully in their eyes. When I finally confronted my former best friend about our changing relationship, she reluctantly revealed that my twin had been spreading vicious rumors about me, fabricating accusations that I had never committed. Her words struck me like a physical blow, leaving me reeling with disbelief and profound betrayal. I could never have imagined my brother crafting such lies about me, painting me as someone I didn't even recognize. The weight of his betrayal settled heavily in my stomach. The following day at school, I confronted him, but he brushed me off with a smirk, coldly insisting I deserved to be alone. His reaction and the persistence of his lies terrified me. Although I longed to seek help from our parents, I feared they would side with him. As his jealousy-driven fabrications spread, they began dismantling the social connections I had painstakingly built. Even teachers began to hear the rumors, trapping me in a distorted reality where my true self was eclipsed by the malicious narrative spun by my own twin. The rumors escalated until they reached the principal's ears. In a horrifying turn of events, I was summoned, along with my brother and parents, to the principal's office. Heart racing, I sat there as my brother doubled down on his false accusations, painting me as a bully who attacked him when our parents were away. I sat in stunned silence as he spun a twisted tale of my supposed jealousy and rage, a fabrication so far removed from the truth that it left me reeling. My mother clung to him, tearful and shaken by his claims, while my father consoled him, praising his alleged bravery. Despite my desperate attempts to defend myself, the principal sternly reprimanded me, stating the school would not tolerate bullying. Even as tears streamed down my face, my pleas for understanding fell on deaf ears. The principal handed down a 10-day suspension to set an example against bullying. Crushed and pleading for reconsideration, I felt powerless as my parents, embarrassed and angry, dragged me out of the office. The weight of injustice was suffocating as we left the school. Once home, my father began packing my things without explanation. Confused and still reeling, I watched as he announced that I could no longer live under the same roof as my brother. My mother, though questioning his actions, offered no intervention as he made his decision. In a whirlwind of confusion, hurt, and humiliation, I faced the cruel reality of being pushed out of my own home based on the lies spun by my twin. With tears streaming down my face, I fell to my knees, pleading with my brother to confess the truth, but he remained indifferent to my distress. Meanwhile, my father continued packing my belongings, hastily tossing my suitcase into the foyer as if to rid the house of my presence. Desperately clinging to my dad's legs, I begged him not to throw me out, but he coldly declared that a supposed bully like me didn't deserve to stay. He mentioned calling my grandmother to pick me up if she was willing to take me in. It felt as if the very foundation of my world was being pulled out from beneath me. Standing in the foyer, surrounded by my scattered belongings, I felt trapped in a nightmare until my grandmother arrived. With calm determination, she swiftly gathered my things and helped me load them into her car before driving away. After ensuring I was safely buckled in, she turned back to confront my parents at the front door. When my father answered, her outrage was palpable. She didn't hold back, sternly warning him of the consequences of his actions, including the possibility of involving the police or child protective services. My mother attempted to deflect the blame onto me, but my grandmother stood firm, fiercely defending me and insisting that no child deserved such cruel treatment. In that moment, I witnessed the strength and conviction my grandmother possessed, realizing for the first time the true power she held. Unlike my parents, she believed in me. As we drove away from the only home I had ever known, an indescribable pain washed over me. At her house, I spent days crying, unable to eat despite my grandmother's gentle encouragement. I confided in her about everything my brother had done, feeling grateful to have at least one ally. When my suspension was finally lifted, returning to school felt like walking back into a lion's den. The judgmental whispers and sidelong glances from my classmates were overwhelming. My brother, having successfully convinced some that he was the victim, continued to ignore me, and it felt like everyone else had followed suit. No matter how hard I tried to explain myself, my words fell on deaf ears. Branded with an unfair label, I felt like a shadow drifting through the hallways, cafeteria, and classrooms, met with disdain and mistrust at every turn. I became a loner, attending classes and eating lunch alone, rushing home immediately after school. Throughout this ordeal, my parents never checked on me. My grandmother remained my steadfast support, constantly reminding me that none of this was my fault and reassuring me that things would eventually improve. I graduated high school with good grades, looking forward to college, hoping for a fresh start and an escape from the painful past. College was a revelation. For the first time, I experienced true freedom, no overbearing scrutiny, no unfair comparisons, just the opportunity to be myself. I formed friendships with like-minded people and finally felt a sense of belonging. During this transformative time, I rediscovered my passion for writing. Although I had set aside my dream of becoming a writer, freelancing began to seem like a viable way to earn some extra money. I signed up on various freelancing platforms, gradually building a portfolio and securing jobs from prominent clients. This side hustle throughout college empowered me to maintain financial independence from my parents while healing from the emotional and physical scars of my past. As I embraced the college experience and looked forward to a future where I could truly thrive, I came to realize that content writing was more than just a passion, it was a viable full-time career, bolstered by my multiple clients and the long-term professional relationships I was building. I had cultivated a thriving writing career, immersing myself in a variety of projects. This career not only secured my financial independence but also opened the door for me to travel the world as a blogger. The healing power of travel was profound. Although it wasn't always easy, I diligently saved money and took bold steps toward my personal growth. Throughout my adventures, the only person I still considered family was my beloved grandmother. Despite feeling sadness when I moved out, she understood my need for independence, no matter how busy life got.
I made it a point to spend weekends with her,
sharing meals or enjoying long conversations on the porch, reminiscing about my childhood or discussing recent events. Occasionally, I dedicated entire afternoons to help her with household chores or join her for walks in the local park. Recently,
I completed one of the most significant projects of my career.
While I can't disclose the brand, I was fortunate to write blogs and product descriptions for them. After wrapping up, I encouraged the team to leave positive reviews on my professional profiles, which they gladly did. I captured those accolades in screenshots and shared them on Instagram, fully aware of the impact such a renowned collaboration would have. This exposure attracted many content creators, photographers, and potential clients who congratulated me and sought my services. My success even caught the attention of my college's principal, who invited me back to speak about building a career in content writing. Though I felt nervous about public speaking, I accepted the invitation, eager to share my journey. Standing before an audience of aspiring photographers, I realized my life had come full circle. I spoke candidly about my struggles and how I persevered, finding the talk incredibly fulfilling as I recognized the impact my story could have on others. Clips from the seminar went viral in Facebook writing groups, resonating deeply within the community. This newfound recognition led to an invitation to appear on a local news show to discuss the benefits of content writing. Though I was anxious, I was excited to share my insights with a broader audience. On the show, I emphasized the significance of client feedback and how even a simple post of appreciation can create remarkable new opportunities. The airing of the episode broadened my audience and became a proud moment that I showcased on Instagram. As clips from the show circulated online, my extended family, largely unaware of my professional life due to my parents' silence, began to realize how well I was doing. This even reached my parents. Shortly after the episode aired, I found missed calls from my mother on my phone, something that hadn't happened in years. Surprised and hesitant, I returned her call, curious about the sudden change after such a long silence. When my mom picked up, she congratulated me. My dad soon joined the conversation, both of them seemingly interested in my life and well-being, which felt unexpectedly normal at first. However, the conversation took a turn when they began probing into my earnings. I was taken aback and firmly told them that it was none of their business. Despite this, my dad insisted that, as family, I should be open about my financial status. I reiterated that I was doing well, which led my mom to lament their current financial hardships, mentioning their desire to renovate their now dilapidated home but lacking the funds to do so. Here's how our conversation unfolded. My mom mentioned that my success and the glimpse of my life on TV gave them hope, suggesting I could contribute financially to their home renovations. My dad chimed in, emphasizing that family should support each other in times of need. Shocked by their audacity, I questioned their motives, reminding them of the years of neglect and silence. Despite their congratulations, I was not ready to open my wallet to them. My mom then accused me of being ungrateful, saying I owed them support as family. My dad added that, as their child, it was my duty to look after them. Their words infuriated me, but instead of lashing out, I decided to set a condition. If they wanted my financial help, they needed to publicly admit that my brother was behind the damaging rumors and acknowledge their role in the pain they caused me. My proposal shocked them. My dad questioned why such a public admission was necessary, while my mom suggested we could resolve this privately. I stood firm, stating that my terms were non-negotiable. As the conversation grew tense, my dad asserted his parental authority, arguing that it was my obligation to help. My mom, in a desperate plea, invoked the years they raised me, but I quickly pointed out the irony in their words, reminding them that it was my grandmother who truly raised me after they had kicked me out. They grew increasingly agitated as I maintained my stance. Public acknowledgement of the truth and accountability for their actions were essential for any future assistance from me. Since laying out my terms, they have repeatedly tried to contact me, but I have ignored their calls. Reflecting on this, I regret returning my mom's initial call. It's been a tumultuous week. Since sharing my story, the overwhelming support from others has been incredibly affirming. It reassures me that my decision to demand accountability and to avoid engagement without it was justified. I set the condition knowing it would be difficult for them, given their clear favoritism towards my brother. This ordeal has highlighted their inability to face the truth, strengthening my resolve to distance myself from their manipulative tactics. I recently faced a deeply troubling experience with my family. It began when I chose not to answer calls from my parents, prompting my brother to send me a harsh text message. In his message, he criticized my decision to keep my distance and accused me of giving our parents an unreasonable ultimatum that he believed they wouldn't accept. He dismissed my feelings, blaming me for past misunderstandings, and insulted my personal life choices,
pointing out that I was unmarried and childless.
His words were painful, revealing a profound lack of empathy as he attempted to guilt-trip me into financing home repairs for our parents. This incident fueled my determination to confront the long-standing injustices within my family. I composed an email to my parents and extended relatives, detailing the preferential treatment my brother received during our upbringing and the false rumor he had spread about me in school, which significantly damaged my reputation. I attached a screenshot of my brother's text that admitted to his past lies, hoping it would shed light on the favoritism and emotional abuse I had endured. After sending the email, the family's reaction was immediate and intense. Relatives who were previously unaware of the situation reached out to apologize for their ignorance. In contrast, my parents and brother bombarded me with increasingly hostile messages, leading me to seek legal advice and issue a cease and desist notice to halt their attempts to contact me. My grandmother, who has always been my pillar of support, wholeheartedly approved of my actions. 3 months later, I'm pleased to report that my life has been progressing positively. My content writing business is thriving, And I've been active in professional circles, participating in seminars and podcasts. I've also been spending invaluable time with my grandmother, who has developed a passion for gardening. These moments with her are precious and play a significant role in my healing process. As I continue therapy,
I remain optimistic about my journey toward recovery and self-improvement.
this chapter with my family is closed, and I'm focusing on moving forward with those who truly support me.